Today I'm with Eva Woo Slavitt. She's the Canon for Communications at Grace Cathedral. When I was a young priest, the World Wide Web was brand new, and our church was one of the first churches to have a website, a web page, and it was really looked like a pamphlet that was on the web. But I remember towards the latter part of the 1990s that Grace Cathedral really began to excel in what it was able to produce and show online. We were even in the early part of the 2000s showing the forum online with taking questions from as far away as Seattle or Minnesota or Florida and broadcasting the forum, that interview program that we have, and then also broadcasting sermons too. But with the pandemic, we really began broadcasting worship services. So it's been a real change for us. But one of the things that surprises me most, Eva, about the work that you do is this, like older technologies, the technologies that have been around for a while, just reach a lot of people. So could you tell me a little bit about just like our web page and how that reaches out to people?
Absolutely. We launched a new website in January of last year, and it was taking from the old website to what we are now, where it's a bit more dynamic and it has a little bit more of some smarts built into it to anticipate some of the pages that you typically are following, so we follow the path with you.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that since we've launched it, we have now we have about 1.5 million views on our website since we've launched it, and that is compared to what our stats were before, which was about 800,000.
Wow, so we've almost doubled the number of people in just a single year.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And when people go to the website, what are they looking for? What are they hoping to find in that?
It's really interesting. We continue to monitor which are the most commonly accessed pages. Of course, the home page, because that's where they end up. But then the second page that is historically and continues to be the most popular is the page that is listed as prayers for difficult times. And that is a lovely page, comprised of all different types of prayers, and we see people going in there and sharing them, and etc. So it really is a way for us to support those in need.
Yeah, and then we publish on the blog. We publish all my sermon manuscripts are in there, and other different kinds of written material.
Exactly, and we also see that as well. We also see people coming from outside looking for excerpts from your sermon. And so the website has been an extremely valuable tool, extremely valuable for our congregants, for those who are curious about Grace Cathedral, and those who are looking for some information based on your sermons.
Yeah, I wonder if you can talk too about just another old technology, which is just ordinary email. We reach out to a large number of people through email, don't we?
Yes, we do. On every week, we actually send emails out to over 81,000 people. And we do it with 4 different email newsletters that are curated and specific to what they have opted in for. With that 81,000, we have an average open rate of about 52%. And industry average 9% is an open rate. So what that means is that of that 81,000 people that we send newsletters to, 52% are actually opening it and reading it, which is really phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think of communications happening in the worship service, like the way that we pray together and the way that we preach, etc. But in a way, those email communications are even more important in terms of the number of people who are connecting with the cathedral. The social media, it was such a major change with the advent of cell phones, and I wonder if you can talk a little bit about just Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. How are we doing on those platforms, and what do you see as their purpose for each of those different ones?
I think you mentioned our website, you mentioned the email, and then now you're talking about social media. I think what it is that everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone have different ways of consuming and accessing information. So we at Grace Cathedral in our marketing communications team want to be able to support them on the places that they want to be. And so with social media, we also see some very interesting statistics as well. We have actually, on average, doubled our followers across all of the different platforms.
But over what period of time?
In the past year and a half. And so we continue to do that. And what's very interesting is that our engagement rates are much higher than other organizations that we compare ourselves to, meaning that the information that we're sharing on posts on social those people are actually sharing it as well. So they're seeing it of value, and they're feeling like, yeah, this is something I want to share with my family and friends, which is really something that you want to strive at versus just a simple like.
Yeah, I'm so much more dialed into what the YouTube channel is like, because so much of our energy goes towards that. But it seems like it's a wonderful way for just people who may not have any connection at all to the cathedral to just hear a different kind of take on what it means to be a Christian, to hear a different way of what it means to to be a person in society these days. And I think we have a really important mission to support LGBTQ plus people, and I think that comes out in our communications.
And with the YouTube channel, we also have that's where we broadcast our live streaming in addition to our website. So there's two different places for people to access and to see it. And I think what's really lovely is that we also will curate the different types of recordings, such as your sermon. We will give a short cut of it, and then there's also the long live stream if should anyone want to see the entire Sunday.
Yeah. What do you think is the future for all this communications, and what direction are we going? How has social media changed over the last couple of years? I mean, obviously our commitment to video is just completely changed in the last 5 years.
Yes, and we are continuing to experiment and work with what we see people are accessing information on, and it's going to be a very interesting next 2 years as we actually work with Dan's team to really think about how we can immerse ourselves even more with our audience at the cathedral. You have seen the drone footage.
Right.
What we are going to work on now is a little bit more of the person on the streets type of experience. So you're not just looking at it from the static cameras from up above, but I really do want to have more of that handheld camera, that view from a person's point of view, not necessarily the GoPro, but in that vein.
Yeah. I saw a beautiful film that Dan made of the cable cars coming up the hill, but from like above the cable car, like looking at the roof of the cable car is spectacular.
Yes,
yeah. There's so much that's changing, and there's so many beautiful ways for people to connect. I think so many times when I'm talking to the trustees, I'm like, when the printing press was invented, and a movable type was really invented in the West, and you could have Gutenberg's Bible. It really fundamentally changed society, but it fundamentally changed like our religious expression too. And I think we're at a similar time in human life where human culture is just changing tremendously in a very quick time.
Very quick, and I think movement over to mobile continues to be dramatic. We are seeing much more people accessing everything from mobile devices. Yeah. And we also see people viewing their mobile devices while they're in the cathedral, in unison with the actual service as well. Right. So those are just different ways for us to be able to accommodate them, be able to reach them, and we're going to have a really good time coming up with additional ways to service our people, our community.
Yeah, during the consecration of the bishop, people were sitting so far back they couldn't see anything themselves, but they could see it on the live stream on their cell phones.
Exactly.
Well, I'm so grateful for you for being on the show, but also for all that you're doing to help us to be leaders in this area. It makes a big difference to have somebody who's got your background in technology and who has your passion for the Episcopal Church and for our work together. So I'm very grateful for you, Eva. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful for all you do too. Thank you, Malcolm.
My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching More Good News.